Can you believe it? In the wealthiest nation on earth, a place where the latest iPhones are everywhere and luxury is a lifestyle, 4 out of every 10 adults cannot scramble together a mere $400 for an emergency. Not for a car repair, not for a medical bill, nothing. Why does global prosperity look so hollow on the inside? Today, we're decoding the $400 paradox to see why the world's richest economy is actually running on empty. Let's dive in. This number isn't a hypothesis. It is a reality confirmed by the US Federal Reserve over decades. Let's look deep beneath the surface of these numbers. Every year, the Fed releases a document called the SHED Report, the Survey of Household Economics and Decision-Making. For years, one specific statistic has haunted economists: the ability of an average adult to cover a sudden $400 emergency expense. Whether it's a blown tire, a broken tooth, or a leaking pipe, $400 has become the unofficial survival threshold of the American middle class. Now, you might think, $400? That's just the price of a mid-range smartwatch or a few grocery trips. And that is exactly where the paradox lies. In a consumer-driven society, $400 is small enough to be spent without a second thought, yet large enough to trigger a financial landslide for nearly 40% of the population. When these people face that $400 bill, they don't reach for a savings account. They reach for a credit card with 20% interest. They borrow from family, or they simply let the problem get worse. But here is the real kicker. This isn't just about people living below the poverty line. We're seeing a massive surge in high-income, low-net-worth individuals. People making 6 figures who are still living paycheck to paycheck. This exposes a brutal distinction we often miss: the difference between income and financial health. High income is a flow of water. Financial health is the reservoir. Many Americans have a massive flow coming in, but their reservoir has a giant hole at the bottom. They're trapped in a cycle of living mon, a slow erosion of their financial future. They have the house, the car, and the subscription services, but zero margin for error. Why is $400 so significant? Because it represents the break point of the American dream. If you can't survive a $400 hiccup without going into debt, you aren't actually wealthy. You're just a high-level manager of debt. You are one bad day away from a crisis. When the Fed looks at these households, they see a fragility that doesn't show up on GDP charts. On paper, the economy is booming, spending is up, unemployment is low, but internally, the middle class is brittle. They're walking on a glass floor, hoping that no one drops a $400 stone. We have to ask ourselves, how did we get here? How did we become a society that can afford $1,000 phones on installment plans, but cannot find $400 in cash? Is it a lack of money, or is it a lack of something much more fundamental? As we pull back the curtain, we realize that the lack of $400 cushion isn't just a financial failure, it's a psychological one. We've been conditioned to believe that as long as the monthly payment fits, we can afford it. But affording the payment is a world away from owning your life. This leads us to a much darker realization. If income isn't the problem, and the survival threshold is so low, then there must be a deeper force at play. There's a psychological, invisible hand pushing us to stay empty-handed, even as our pockets are seemingly full. But if it isn't just about the math, then what is it really about? To find out, we need to look at the invisible traps set by our own minds and the society around us. But if you think this is just a problem of low income, you're dead wrong. The real culprit lies in something far more sophisticated: behavioral psychology. Why do we do it? Why do we choose a financed luxury SUV over a boring but solid savings account? In the world of sociology, we call this keeping up with the Joneses. But in the age of Instagram and TikTok, the Joneses aren't just your neighbors anymore. They're influencers, celebrities, and billionaires appearing on your screen every 5 seconds. We're living in a glamour culture that has weaponized our primal need for status. Historically, humans survived by being part of a tribe. If you looked poor or weak, you were at risk of being cast out. Today, that survival instinct has been hijacked by consumerism. We feel a subconscious panic if we don't own the right things. We buy the $1,200 phone not because the old one doesn't work, but because we are terrified of looking like we are falling behind. Think about it. When was the last time someone complimented you on your emergency fund? Exactly. No one sees your $400 in the bank, but they do see the designer shoes, the vacation photos, and the car in the driveway. We're spending money we don't have, to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't even like. This creates a brutal cycle of status debt.
We choose to look rich today at the expense of actually being wealthy tomorrow. We've traded our financial peace of mind for a temporary shot of dopamine. Behavioral economists call this present bias, our tendency to overvalue immediate rewards while ignoring long-term consequences. That $400 emergency seems like a distant, unlikely maybe, but that new outfit is a guaranteed yes right now. And then there's the peer pressure 2.0. Digital platforms have created a 24/7 showroom of perfection. When you see your friends posting about their latest haul or their luxury dinner, your brain registers it as a standard. If you aren't doing the same, you feel like you're losing. This peer pressure isn't a conversation, it's an invisible atmosphere that makes living beyond your means feel like just living normally. The result? A generation of people who are all hat and no cattle, as they say. We are driving around in mobile debt traps, wearing clothes that belong to the bank, all while our bank accounts are screaming for help. We've become masters of the front. We've built a facade of success that is so heavy it's crushing the very foundation it's built on. But wait, don't just blame your own willpower. This isn't just a personal failing. You are being hunted. You are the target of a multi-billion-dollar industry designed specifically to bypass your logic and trigger your impulse. Every limited time offer and buy now button is a calculated strike against your self-control. Because let's be honest, a consumer who has a $400 emergency fund is a consumer who thinks twice. But a consumer who is stressed, chasing status, and living paycheck to paycheck, that is the most profitable customer in the world. So we have the income gap and we have the psychological gap. But there is a third layer to this crisis, a silent digital architect that is making it easier than ever to fall into the abyss.
If glamour culture provides the why for spending, then modern financial system provides the high-speed rail to get there. Which brings us to the next dark chapter. How technology has turned your phone into a 24-hour casino for your paycheck. If glamour culture provides the why for spending, then modern fintech provides the how, making it so frictionless that your brain doesn't even realize the money is gone. We used to feel the pain of paying when we pulled physical cash out of a wallet, but today, that pain has been surgically removed by algorithms. Enter the world of Buy Now, Pay Later, or BNPL. You've seen the buttons at checkout. Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay. They promise 0% interest and easy installments. It sounds like a helping hand, but in reality, it's a psychological masterstroke. By breaking a $400 purchase into 4 easy payments of $100, these companies bypass your brain's financial defense system. Your mind no longer sees a major expense, it sees a bargain. But here's the silent killer aspect. These apps are powered by hyper-personalized algorithms. They know exactly what time of day you're most vulnerable to an impulse buy. They know which colors, which fonts, and which influencers will trigger your checkout reflex. It's no longer a logical decision, it's a biological one. You aren't just shopping, you're responding to a dopamine-engineered trap designed to keep your bank account at zero. The danger of BNPL isn't just the debt, it's the commitment of future income. When 40% of adults can't find $400 for an emergency, it's often because their future paychecks are already spent on past impulses. Every $25 installment for a pair of sneakers is $25 that won't be there when your car engine starts smoking. We are effectively cannibalizing our future security to pay for our present vanity. And let's talk about iceberg debt. Traditional credit cards are visible. You see the balance, you see the statement. But BNPL debt is often fragmented across multiple apps and platforms. It's hidden beneath the surface. You might feel fine because your bank account has a few $100s, but you've forgotten about the 7 different small payments due next Tuesday. This micro-debt is what creates the risk numbness we see in the market today. We've become so used to owing money in small chunks that we've lost our fear of being broke. The fintech industry isn't just selling you products, they're selling you a lifestyle of perpetual debt. They want you to view your income not as wealth to be built, but as a subscription service to be managed. When your paycheck becomes nothing more than automated deductions, you lose your agency. You lose your ability to pivot during a crisis. This isn't just bad math, it's high-frequency trading applied to your personal life. The house always wins because the house owns the algorithm.
By the time you realize you're in trouble, the $400 emergency has already arrived, and your installments have left you with nothing but a payment failed notification. So we have a culture that demands status and a technology that makes debt invisible. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. If the traps are so well laid, why weren't we warned? Why does the most powerful economy on Earth leave its citizens so defenseless against these digital predators? To answer that, we have to look at the one place that was supposed to protect us, the classroom, and the radical awakening that is finally starting to happen across America. For decades, the American education system has operated with a glaring, almost intentional hole. We spend years teaching students how to calculate the area of a trapezoid or the date of the Battle of Hastings, yet we send them out into the world without the slightest clue of how a credit card interest rate works or how to build a basic emergency fund. We have been producing academic elites who are financial illiterates. Think about the absurdity. We give 18-year-olds access to tens of thousands of dollars in student loans and credit card offers before they've ever been taught the difference between an asset and a liability. We've been tossing young adults into a shark tank filled with high-frequency algorithms and predatory lending, then acting surprised when they can't find $400 for a car repair. But the tide is finally turning. A silent revolution is sweeping across the United States. As of 2024, the Council for Economic Education reports that 35 states now require students to take a personal finance course to graduate. This is a massive jump from just a few years ago. From Florida to Ohio, policymakers are finally waking up to the fact that financial literacy isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it is a matter of national security and social stability. These 35 states are beginning to treat financial education as the vaccine against the epidemic of debt we've discussed. They are teaching kids about the power of compound interest, not just as a math problem, but as a tool for freedom. They are exposing the hidden costs of those easy BNPL installments and showing students how to read the fine print that big banks hope they'll ignore. This isn't just about balancing a checkbook, it's about reclaiming agency. By mandating these courses, we are finally giving the next generation a shield to carry into the digital marketplace. We are recognizing that if you don't understand how money works, someone else will use your lack of knowledge to make it work for them. However, we must be realistic. Education is a long-term play, and the algorithms are evolving every day. While these 35 states are a beacon of hope, there are still millions of Americans trapped in the no margin for error zone right now. The crisis of the $400 emergency isn't going to vanish overnight just because of a few new textbooks. The real question is, can education move faster than the culture of glamour? Can a classroom lesson on saving compete with a 15-second TikTok ad for a luxury lifestyle? This awakening is a start, but it's only half the battle. Because even with the best education, the choice ultimately lands back in your hands. It comes down to a fundamental shift in how we define success and security in an age that wants us to have neither. As we look at the wreckage of the paycheck-to-paycheck lifestyle and the new hope offered by these educational reforms, we have to ask ourselves one final, uncomfortable question. If the system was designed to keep us spending, and the schools are only just now teaching us to save, where does that leave you today?
What is the true cost of that $400 you don't have, and what are you willing to change to get it back? If the system was designed to keep us spending and the schools are only just now teaching us to save, where does that leave you today? What is the true cost of that $400 you don't have, and what are you willing to change to get it back? At the end of the day, that $400 threshold isn't just about a balance in a bank app. It's about power. It is your shield of freedom. When you have that cushion, an emergency is just an inconvenience. But without it, an emergency is a crisis that can derail your entire life. We have to stop building wallets before we build our knowledge. We have to stop managing payments and start owning our future. The $400 paradox is a wake-up call for all of us. It's a reminder that in an economy designed to harvest our attention and our paychecks, silence and discipline are our greatest assets. Don't wait for the system to fix itself. Don't wait for the next state mandate. Start small. Start today, because the best time to build your shield was yesterday. The second best time is right now. So I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest. If your car broke down tomorrow and you needed exactly $400 to fix it, would you reach for a credit card or would you pull it from your emergency fund? Are you part of the 40%, or are you building your way out? Share your story in the comments below. Let's start a real conversation about how we can break this cycle and reclaim our financial sanity together. If you found this analysis helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mechanics of our global economy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.